I'm going to be taking you through a short presentation titled How to Get ERP Functionality at an Out-of-the-Box Price. I'm going to be focusing on our Sage Peachtree Quantum accounting software, and what I'd like to do is actually give you some good information with regard to the type of functionality you can expect with Peachtree if you're currently using an ERP level system and possibly looking to reduce your total cost of ownership. I know that I talk to many customers frequently who are looking to do just that, and I think most folks are very surprised at the level of functionality they will maintain with Sage Peachtree Quantum, and at really how little, if anything, they have to sacrifice when they make the move from one to the other. And the total cost of ownership, of course, is going to be much lower with Sage Peachtree Quantum than with an ERP level system. So what I'd like to do today is focus actually on 3 different areas. And what I'm going to do is just switch the screen over here to the main Peachtree Quantum product. This is the main screen in the 2012 Peachtree Quantum accounting product, which is our current version of the software. I'm going to focus today on 3 main areas. One would be multi-user management and security. Secondly, job and project management. And third and finally, reporting and business intelligence. All of these areas, I think you'll be very surprised and impressed at the level of functionality that we've built into Sage Peachtree Quantum. It's actually quite exceptional for a product in this price range, and it'll enable you to maintain a lot of the functionality that you're currently enjoying with an ERP. What I'd like to do initially here is actually just get a feel for the audience today and see how many folks are using an ERP system and why you're looking possibly to switch over to a system such as Sage Peachtree Quantum. What I'm going to do is launch a poll here, and you'll notice that there are several different choices there, and you can feel free to check whatever applies to you, and I'll give folks a few seconds to do that, and I will then display the results. There are oftentimes multiple reasons that companies are looking to move away from an ERP system, the most common being maintenance fees, but also I hear from other folks that there are other frequently encountered issues with the business changing or the ERP system being a bit more than you think you need. So I'm going to display the results of the survey here in just a sec, and here we go. And as you can see, it looks like everyone today that's in the session is concerned about their ongoing maintenance fees, which is not surprising. That's probably, well, not probably, definitely the most common issue that I hear from people who are on an ERP system, and the most common reason that people choose to move to a mid-level or a accounting system such as Sage Peachtree Quantum, which is an integrated solution as opposed to a modular one. So with that, I'm going to just go ahead and close that particular poll, and you should now be able to see my screen again, and we've got here the main interface for Peachtree. What you see along the left-hand side of the screen is and I'm sorry, it looks to me like I apologize, I didn't show the results of the poll there. There we go. Now you should be able to see my screen. If you look along the left-hand side of the screen, you'll notice this panel that we call the navigation panel. And this is where what normally with an ERP system you would have displayed as modules are represented by tabs on our navigation panel. And each of these tabs represents a different functional area of the program. So you've got, for example, customers and sales, vendors and purchases, inventory, payroll, and so forth. And each of these tabs, as you click, you'll notice as I click on each one of these, the right-hand side of the screen changes, but it changes within the same general format, which is by design. We've tried to make the system as user-friendly and easy to learn as possible. So to that end, what we've done is organize all of the sections in the same essential format. So if you understand how to use the navigation area in one section of the product, you basically understand how all of them operate because they're all laid out in the same general way. Now, you'll see that we have to the right of this navigation panel an area that looks like a flowchart diagram. And this is made up of these boxes, some of which are connected by lines. And when you click on the boxes, you will be presented with a series of menu choices, each of which will take you to a specific screen in the product, which in this case is the new invoice screen. The lines in between the boxes simply represent the relationship between the different functions shown on the diagram. However, that does not in any way mean that you need to use every function that is shown here on the screen. There are many companies, for example, that do not use time and expense tickets or may not use quotes or proposals. That's perfectly okay. You can click on whatever it is that you do need and go directly there without any problem. The diagram here is really just a visual representation for you as to how the individual functions are interrelated within the system. So with that, what I'd like to first cover with you from an ERP perspective versus Sage Peachtree Quantum is the multi-user management and security that we've built into the product. If you click up here on the maintain menu item at the top and go into the security area of the program, you'll notice that when we set up a new user in Peachtree, you've got quite a bit of granularity or detail that you can specify as far as access rights for individual users. In other words, you've got quite a bit of detail in the individual access rights that you can grant or restrict to each user. You'll notice that this panel on the left-hand side of the security setup area mirrors the panel, the navigation panel on the main screen of the product. Within each one of these sections is a list of specific task areas. And so these are all the task areas in the vendors and purchases area. In the inventory area, these are your available task areas. And if you were to add all these up, you'd come up with approximately 100 specific task areas to which you can give varying levels of access depending on the specific task area that you're looking at. You can always give either full access or no access to a specific task area, but you can also, in many cases, give people intermediate levels of access, such as view only or add or edit. So it gives you, as I say, quite a bit of flexibility as to what you can set up in terms of access rights for individual users in the system. And this is something that's really quite unusual in a product in this price range. Typically, you're going to get what you have, for example, with QuickBooks, just to use them as one example, you've got 10 very broad areas. So while you have some control over that, you don't have anywhere near the level of detail that you do with these 100 specific task areas in Peachtree. So that's one area that I think distinguishes Sage Peachtree Quantum really quite strongly from our competition. In addition to that, you've got something in our Sage Peachtree Quantum product which we actually refer to as role-based security. And what that is here you see a list of roles that I've actually entered into the sample company just for illustration purposes. These are user-defined, predefined sets of access rights that you can assign to any user that you set up in Peachtree. So in other words, you can define a role, and again, these are just examples, but you can define a role such as inventory manager or accounts receivable manager, and give that role a specific set of access rights, which you can then assign to a new user. So if you're frequently adding users to the system, and by the way, Peachtree Quantum will accommodate up to a maximum of 40 named users, you can, rather than having to go through each one of those task areas, simply assign that user a role that you've set up, such as inventory manager. And once you've done that, you're finished setting that user up. That's all you have to do. No need to go through each one of the individual task areas. And so if you're frequently switching users in and out of the system or adding users to it, that can really make that process much more efficient for you. So again, role-based security is another distinguishing feature and something that really you typically will have in an ERP level system. You typically will not have that in an integrated system such as Sage Peachtree Quantum. But that's not something you'll have to sacrifice if you are considering moving over. One other thing I should mention here, we have included with Peachtree Quantum a copy of Crystal Reports, which is a standalone custom reporting tool. And we've also got another tool, which I'll get into in a few minutes, called Business Intelligence. But as far as Crystal Reports go, you can also restrict access to specific users to that custom report writing tool. Now, you can do the same thing with the Business Intelligence tool, but that's another advantage that you have with Sage Peachtree Quantum is that reports can be set to be accessible by individual users, and can even, with the Business Intelligence tool, be automatically generated and sent into individual folders which only certain users or groups of users have access to. So it gives you a tremendous amount of control over your financial information and who can access what. The next area I'd like to go into is the job costing and project management area. This is another section of your typical ERP system where it's one reason actually that many people move to an ERP system, because they don't have the level of job costing functionality that they need for their particular industry. And in Peachtree Quantum, we've actually got a quite robust job costing function, which is what you see here is the maintain jobs data entry screen, which is where you would enter a new job. But what I'm going to do as a first step here is show you an example of a job that I've already set up in the system to give you an idea of the kind of flexibility that you have. And let me expand this so you can see that a bit easier. You'll notice that at the top of the screen on the left-hand corner, we have an ID field, and that field can be up to 20 alphanumeric characters in length, and it identifies that particular job record. Now, this is another, as an aside, another ease of use feature with Peachtree that we've built into the interface. Any record that you access in Peachtree, whether it's a job, a customer, an employee, a vendor, follows the same basic format that you see here on the screen. Each record always has an ID field. You'll have underneath that a field labeled either description or name, which can be up to 39 characters in length. And then below that, you have a series of tabs, each of which contain information related to that particular record. So since we're talking about a job here, on the General tab, we have information on the supervisor of this job, the customer for whom we're doing this job, and as well the billing method that we're using, the job type, and all of your basic information. We've also got a series of fields that we call customizable fields, which really are simply 5 fields that you can label any way you choose and use on reports and forms. Now the next tab here is labeled Estimated Expenses and Revenue, and this is really where Peachtree shines as far as an integrated system in job costing goes, because what you have the ability to do here, as you can see in this example, is break your jobs down into phases and cost codes. Again, this is something that's common in an ERP system. It's very uncommon to non-existent in an integrated system. If you notice here, you'll see that we have a list of different phases and cost codes for this particular job. Now, a phase is a subdivision of the job itself, and a cost code is a subdivision of a phase. So you can set up, these are user-defined categories, again, just as the roles that I showed you earlier were user-defined. So you can create as many phases and cost codes as you would like. You can call them whatever you would like to call them for your particular industry. This particular sample company is a garden and landscape design company, which is why we have these particular categories set up. But again, these are user-defined. So once you set up your master list and you're setting up an individual job in the system, you can select from your master list any of the phases and cost codes that you have created. And for each of those, as you see in this table here, you have a list of expenses and revenues which are estimated for that job. This essentially serves as your budget for that job. So you're listing by phase and cost code, which, by the way, is optional. If you don't want to use phases and cost codes, you don't have to. You can uncheck this box up top here and just have one line item for total estimated expenses and total estimated revenues. But if you do want to break it down, you can get detailed line item by line item budget information here. You also have the ability to enter change orders for any job, which again is something that is quite exceptional for an integrated system. I'll pull up one of the change orders for this particular job just to show you what it looks like. And as you can see here in the notes area, we're adding 5 rose bushes to this particular design. Down below, we've got the phase and the cost code to which that applies, and the estimated change to our expenses and revenues that we expect based upon this particular change. The system will assign automatically a sequential change order number, and these can be printed out, and when they are, I'll show you what they look like on the screen here with a preview. You've got an actual, let me try that one more time here. You've got an actual signature line, there we go, at the bottom of the screen where you can have an approval signature, and that's also indicated on the data entry screen itself, the date and the person, the date it was approved and the person who actually approved that change. And as you can see below here, you've got the original contract sum, the amount of the change order, and the new contract sum, including the change. So again, much more flexibility than you would typically have in an integrated accounting system. And these change orders can be used in reports. You can also create invoices separately from the change orders to bill customers directly for those, or you can use the progress billing methods that you have available, which is the next thing I'd like to get into. If we close this particular job, now this one is set for no progress billing, as you can see here. But if I go in to set up a brand new job, you'll notice that I have a choice for billing method of either no progress billing or billing as a percentage of the contract, percent of completion, or percent of proposal. And that gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of the way that you're going to bill that job out to the customer. Because when you set this up, the actual invoices that you generate are going to be based upon the specific billing method that you choose here. So if you are choosing, for example, to bill as a percentage of completion, you can do that very easily. And as a matter of fact, this completion field, which is going to be calculated by the system based on your estimated versus actual expenses, is going to be used in the calculation, but it can always be overridden. So if you'd like to bill a specific amount of the job on a particular invoice, you always have the ability to do that. Also, you have this labor burden percent field, which gives you an area where you can enter a specific flat percentage that you would add to any labor that is charged to that particular job to account for your labor overhead, your benefits, and so forth. Again, just a tool that's nice to have to increase the accuracy of your job profitability reports. And that's actually a good segue into the reporting area of the program, which is represented up top here by the Reports and Forms menu item. If I pull up this particular screen, you'll notice that we've got, again, categories on the left-hand side of the screen here, which contain, each of these contain a list of standard reports that comes with Peachtree Quantum. And there are a total of approximately 140 standard reports and financial statements included with Peachtree right out of the box. And each of these reports can be customized or modified to your particular needs very easily right on the screen. You'll notice that each of these categories has a list of standard reports, and the standard reports are represented by the report name with a blank page icon to the left of it. Customized reports have a little blue wrench icon to the left of them to indicate that that's a customized report. There are really a number of things that you can do very easily with the reports to customize them right on the screen. And in order to illustrate that, what I've pulled up here is the standard aged receivables report, which can be modified. As you can see here, I'm dragging and adjusting the column widths right on the screen. When you see your mouse pointer move or change, by the way, into a magnifying glass, as you see here, that indicates that you can double click on that line item to pull up the detail that that represents, which in this case is an unpaid sales invoice. You also have these two buttons at the top of the screen labeled Options and Columns. And if you click on the Options button, you will see that you gain access to this window where you will have various different time periods and date ranges for which you can run that report. You'll also have, depending on the specific report that you're viewing, a list of fields on which you can sort and or summarize that particular report. In addition, you have a filter box which lists fields on which you can filter that report or essentially restrict it to certain specified information. For example, let's say that you wanted to run an aged receivables report, but rather than see every single customer in your database, which is what the system will do by default if you don't tell it otherwise, you just want to see specific customers on this report. Well, you can accomplish that very easily just by clicking on the Options button, coming to this window, and under Filter, selecting Customer ID. And you'll notice that over here on the right is displayed a list of all of our customers that are set up in Peachtree. And I can go down this list and, by clicking in these check boxes, select only the customers that I'd like to see on the report. And once I do that, and then click OK, the report's going to be restricted only to those specific users, which is exactly what you see here. Now, you can filter a report on multiple levels. So if I wanted to go back into that options area, I could do so and filter on another field as a secondary sort. So that gives you quite a bit of flexibility right there. But in addition to that, you have the ability on any report to add fields, any report or financial statement. And you do that by clicking on the Columns button, which gives you access to this window. If you look under the column heading here, you'll notice that there are several field names that have check marks to the left-hand side of their name under this Show column. Those are the fields that are already displayed up top here on the standard version of the report. However, if we scroll down in this table, you'll notice that there are quite a number of additional fields that you can add to the report simply by clicking in these checkboxes to the left of the field names. When you do that, the field is highlighted in blue, and then you can move it up or down in the table, as you see me doing here, which will change the order of the columns on the report. So you can rearrange these columns in any order that you choose. Once you click OK, those fields will be added to the report, and you can then do a variety of things. There are, for example, there's integration directly with Microsoft Excel. If you click on the Excel button, your report will be exported. It will launch your Microsoft Excel program and export that data, including any formulas that are necessary, directly into an Excel spreadsheet, as you see here, which makes it very easy for you to do whatever type of data analysis you'd like to do in Excel very quickly, directly from that report. You also have a PDF button, which will create a PDF file copy of that report. You have an email button, which will launch your default email program, which in my case is Microsoft Outlook, and will create an email message with a copy of that report attached to that email as a PDF file, which is exactly what you see here. If I double-click on this attachment, you'll notice that this is the report that we were just viewing in PDF format, and it's been attached to this particular email. Now, at this point, all you would need to do is enter an email address or multiple email addresses and whatever additional information you'd like to put in the body of the message, and you can send it off. So it makes that process very quick and simple. Now, once you've got your the format or the layout of your report modified and looking the way you would like, in order to save that, all you need to do is click on the Save button at the top, give the report a name and a description, and from that point forward, that customized or modified version of the report is going to appear in your main report list under the name that you gave it, which is exactly what you see here. This is a custom report that I created a few days ago, and again, you can see that that's a customized report not only by the name that I gave it, but it has this little blue wrench icon identifying that as a customized report. You can create as many customized versions of any of these reports or financial statements as you choose, and you can add those to the list or delete them at will. You don't have to ever worry about accidentally deleting a standard report because the system actually won't allow you to do that, but you can add as many customized versions as you would like. Now, in addition to that, you have the ability to modify forms or customize forms in Peachtree. Forms are things such as invoices, credit memos, purchase orders, quotations, packing lists, customer statements, and so forth. Just to use an invoice as an example, you'll notice here on the left-hand side of the screen that there are several different formats for invoices listed here already with Peachtree as it comes right out of the box. And so you can use any of these pre-formatted examples, and you'll notice that as I click on these different formats here, you get a sample on the right-hand side of exactly what that's going to look like when it prints out. Now, let's just say for illustration purposes that we want to modify this particular invoice. Well, I've already selected it and highlighted it in blue on the left. Over here, you see the sample of what it's going to look like. If I click on the Customize button here, that takes me into this design area. And from here, I can move fields around. I can change fonts. I can even go into the body of the form and change the column widths or add or delete columns if I'd like to do that. I can change the column headings, move elements around on the page. By clicking on this Add button, I have the ability to insert additional text fields, boxes, additional data fields from Peachtree, and I can even import a logo or an image in the form of a JPEG or a GIF file that will then print on that particular form. Many companies like to use that function in particular to have their company logo print on the form itself, whether it be an invoice or a purchase order. And you saw just for a second there, it pulled up a browser window, which will allow you to browse anywhere on your machine or your network for the particular file that you'd like to pull in and have print. This works, as far as forms go, in the same manner as the report customization feature, in the sense that once you get a form customized and looking the way you'd like, you simply save it to an alternate name. You can then set that alternate version of the form as your default, and from that point forward, the system will use that customized version of the form going forward whenever you print out that type of document, whether it be a purchase order, an invoice, or anything else. So as you can see, you've got quite a bit of flexibility and functionality with both reporting and forms in Sage Peachtree Quantum. Quite a bit more, I should say, than you're going to find in virtually any other integrated system. Now, one thing that we've added for the 2012 version of the product, and we're really excited about, is this business intelligence tool. This is something that gives you, I will say, truly, as far as customization goes, ERP levels of functionality for custom reporting. Because what you have with this tool, this business intelligence tool, is a custom reporting tool that essentially gives you the ability to use whatever tools you have available in Microsoft Excel, including pivot tables, charts, and graphs, to create very sophisticated reports combining a variety of different types of information. And what I'm going to do here to illustrate this is pull up this dashboard analysis report, which is one of the standard reports that we include with the business intelligence feature in Peachtree Quantum. And by the way, we're going to be adding quite a few additional standard reports. We're going to be pushing out over the internet free of charge. If you purchase Peachtree Quantum, you'll get those additional reports, which will be automatically downloaded into the business intelligence section of the program. What I'm doing here is I'm entering parameters for this particular dashboard analysis report. When I click OK, what happens is that the tool extracts the data from the Peachtree database, which is what you're seeing here, and exports that into a Microsoft Excel workbook into a predefined template. And this is the result. What you're looking at is literally a Microsoft Excel 2010 workbook. And you can see that we've got quite a variety of information displayed here. We've got profit and loss information, top 5 expenses, top 5 customers, top and bottom 5 items that we've sold for this particular time period, as well as some charts and graphs, each of which are driven by pivot tables that are set up in the standard way in Excel. Now, the beauty of this tool, in addition to the fact that you can combine lots of disparate information into one report, is that you can make any modifications to the resulting business intelligence reports in Excel, and then save that template back to the business intelligence tool under an alternate name, just as you would a customized Peachtree report. And the tool will remember any changes that you make. So if you'd like to add additional charts or graphs, or maybe switch out information, maybe you'd like to see different expense information or other information on items, maybe you'd like to see your top 10 items, or maybe for instead of year to date, you'd like to see quarter to date. Any changes you make to this resulting spreadsheet and then save back to the tool is saved with that under that alternate name, so that you can rerun that report with live data at any time in the future. And just imagine how much time that can save you if you're frequently exporting data into Excel and manipulating it. This completely automates that process and enables you, as I said earlier, not only to create these customized reports, but give access to those reports to specific users, and even schedule these reports to run automatically on specific days and times, and be saved in specific folders to which different people in the organization have access. So it can really automate your reporting process and gives you a level of custom reporting functionality that, as I say, is really comparable to what you would get with an ERP system. I've got another poll question I'd like to, let me just switch back here to the main screen, just quickly ask to see what ERP system folks on the call are currently using. We get a variety, and I'm going to launch this poll, and you'll see that there are various different products that we have listed here. These are probably the most common ERP level products, or in the case of QuickBooks Enterprise, alternate products in the same basic marketing space as our standard version of Peachtree. And as I say, we have people migrating from all different types of systems over to Peachtree Quantum. I'll give you a couple more seconds here, and then I'm going to display the results. And looks like on this particular call, folks are using Epicor as, or some other system to manage their accounting. And that is one of the most common systems that we have people switch over from. I'm going to hide the results of that poll again so you can see my screen. Anytime you're moving data from one system to another, it can sometimes get complicated because you're going to, you may have to deal with disparate data formats and so forth. We've really simplified that process with Sage Peachtree Quantum because you've got a built-in import-export utility that uses .csv files, and you have a variety. .csv stands for, by the way, in case you're not familiar, comma-separated value, and that's a standard file format, which is basically just a comma-delimited file format that is used by virtually every accounting system and most all ERP systems out there. It's also compatible with Microsoft Excel. So what that means to you is that if you can get your existing information from your present system into an Excel spreadsheet format, you can import that information into Peachtree. And that's something that we can assist you with as well. As far as other features, we've got a nice feature on the dashboard that is also something I think that really distinguishes Peachtree as an integrated product and really ups our game to the level of an ERP product in the sense that you have the ability to do order process workflow. And what I mean by that goes by different names in the industry depending on what product you're using. But I'm going to display here, just for illustration purposes, a sales invoice. And I want you to keep in mind, however, that it doesn't necessarily have to be a sales invoice that you use this feature with. This can be used with any type of transaction in Peachtree Quantum, whether it be a sales invoice, a quotation, a credit memo, a purchase order, really any type of transaction at all. You'll notice that when you open a transaction screen in Peachtree Quantum, you have this little track it bar to the right-hand side. And when you click on that bar, that expands into a panel on which you have 3 fields listed labeled tracking status, assigned to, and notes. What this allows you to do is to create a series of user-defined tracking statuses for that particular transaction type, which you can then, any of which you can apply to a specific transaction. And what you see here, as I'm highlighting these in blue, these are the 6 tracking statuses that I created just for illustration purposes for sales invoices in this particular sample company. But again, since these are user-defined, you can create as many of these as you would like and call them anything you'd like to call them. So if I go into the setup screen here, setup window for this function, you'll notice that along the left-hand side of the screen, I've selected sales invoicing. And over here on the right is displayed the list of the 6 different statuses that I created for sales invoices. However, if I click, for example, on sales orders, I have a completely different set of 6 statuses for sales orders. If I click on purchase orders, I have a different set of 4 statuses for those, and so forth. Now, you can have as many statuses as you like. You could set up 15 or 20 different statuses for a single transaction type if you want to do that. Every one of these transaction types listed on the left-hand side will have its own set of transaction statuses, which you can then assign to a particular transaction. Below this tracking status field, you have a field labeled assigned to, which contains a drop-down list of each user that you've set up in Peachtree. And for this particular transaction, I've assigned this to Kim in accounts receivable, and I'll show you what that means in terms of functionality in just a moment. But this is very nice because it links a particular user to a transaction and brings that transaction to their attention so that they can follow up on it. Below that assigned to field, we have a notes field, and into this field you can enter as many notes of up to 2,000 characters each as you would like. So you can actually have quite an extensive log here of notes regarding that particular transaction. You may have had conversations with the customer or the vendor or any type of notes that you want to enter into the system to keep track of over time will be tracked along with any status changes, and any time that the person to whom the transaction is assigned is changed on this History tab. And you'll notice that each entry is time and date stamped, and it has the name of the user who entered that information displayed as well. So when you save that transaction in Sage Peachtree Quantum, all that information goes with that transaction. And then when any of your users log into the system, and this is what I was getting at earlier with assigning a particular user to a transaction, they can come to this dashboard tab, look at this Peachtree inbox panel, and select any time period that they'd like to view. I'm using this quarter as an example. And they'll be presented with a list of every transaction that has been assigned to them over that time period and what the current status of each of those transactions is. And furthermore, if they'd like to see the detail on any of those transactions, all they need to do is click on this detail link and it takes them directly there. So you can see the utility that this can give you in terms of keeping track of information related to specific transaction items in the system, even if particular employees may happen not to be in the office that particular day. You've got a running log of everything that's been done, each person who's touched the transaction, and what the current status is. The other nice aspect of this is that you can get very quick reports based upon the tracking status of transactions. You'll notice in this panel just below, labeled Transactions by Tracking Status, that we have two drop-down boxes, one of which serves as a way that you can select a particular transaction type, and the other is where you can select the time frame you want to view. When you do this, you get a breakdown in the form of both a pie chart and a list or a table of how many of each of those transactions are in each of those statuses that you created. So you can see in this particular example, I've selected sales invoices for this quarter again. I have 4 of those transactions in collections. If I want to see a report of that particular category, I just click on that line item, and instantly I've got a report showing me the 4 transactions that are in that category. I can double-click to drill down on any of these and see the detail, and it makes it very easy for me to get very detailed reporting information on any of those statuses. Another nice feature that we have added is inventory management. You've got an unusual level of inventory management included, again, with a Peachtree as an integrated system. You'll notice that when you set up a new inventory item, you have not just 1, but actually 4 costing methods from which you can choose: first in, first out, last in, first out, average, or specific unit costing, which applies when you're using serialized inventory, which again is something that is quite unusual in an integrated product. And I can show you an example of that. If I pull up actually any of these serialized stock items and click on the serial number tab, it shows you for each specific serial number the item status. And you can see these first 2 are sold and these 3 you have available for sale. But if I click on any of these, for example, this one which I've already sold, it gives me a serial number history report detailing when I sold it, what I sold that item for, what I purchased it for, and the vendor from whom I purchased it. And you can pull up all that detail just by drilling down on that report. So you have that. You have the ability to enter quantity discounts in inventory items, and you can set up as many quantity discount schedules as you would like, each of which has up to 5 different quantity levels at which you give either a discount, in terms of a percentage or a dollar amount. And again, you'll notice that the level of functionality here is unusually robust. So getting close to the end of the session here, I wanted to quickly just mention that in addition to everything that I've shown you up to this point, we do have some industry-specific features built into the system. I've shown you, for example, the job costing functionality, change orders. Many construction companies and service companies, service-based companies will use those job costing features extensively. Also, for manufacturers, we have in the inventory area, in addition to the different features that I just showed you, a bill of materials, and that's actually something I should probably show you in a little more detail here. If I pull up an assembly item, you'll notice that when you classify an inventory item as an assembly, that activates this bill of materials tab on which is shown the components that make up that assembly. In Peachtree Quantum, you have the ability to revise the bill of materials. Again, a very unusual feature in an integrated product. And when you do that, you can change the quantities of the components, the actual components that are listed on the bill of material. You can delete items or switch them out, and the system will keep a record of the date on which you made each revision so that you can review that at any time. In addition to that, you've got the quantity price break feature that I mentioned, which is very useful for distributors. The component display is also often used by distributors. And when it comes to nonprofit organizations, if you happen to be one of those, we've got some industry-specific financial statements that are included in the reports and forms area for nonprofits, as well as some specific charts of accounts that are tailored for, or sample charts of accounts, I should say, that are tailored specifically for different types of nonprofit organizations. So if you're starting a company in Peachtree and you're starting fresh with a new chart of accounts, you have a variety of different nonprofit charts of accounts that you can use as a starting point. So at this point, I would like to open it up. I've got a few minutes left here for questions and answers. And if you would, just type in whatever questions you have into the question box, and I'll do my best to answer whatever I can answer in the time we have remaining. Give you a few seconds. You can just type. There's a question box on the panel you have, the GoToMeeting panel, into which you can type whatever you'd like. I see I'm getting first question looks like it's from Mary, and she's asking, can you provide me with an overview of your data conversion process? Well, Mary, that's a good question there. As I mentioned earlier, we can import any information in .csv file format, which is compatible with Microsoft Excel. So to the extent that you can get your data out of your existing accounting system into an Excel spreadsheet format, you can import that information into Peachtree. It just needs to be in a particular format, which is documented in the help files, and is really will assist you. Our tech support department will assist you with getting that information pulled over. Now, if on the other hand you're using QuickBooks, we have a built-in utility that will convert your information automatically from QuickBooks Enterprise, everything with the exception of the payroll data, which happens to be stored in a very different format. But everything else will come over, including all your transaction history and your reporting. So it makes that process very easy. And if you're on our business care plan, we will even convert that data, that QuickBooks data, for you over free of charge if you just send us the data. So it makes that process real easy. David's asking about technical support options. David, I'm glad you asked that question. We have several different options. One is pay per call. We also have a monthly plan. And then as a part of the business care plan, we have unlimited access to our tech support department for a period of the year. And if you're on business care, that would renew each year. One of the things I always like to point out to folks is that all of our tech support is U.S.-based. Our customer support folks are all right here in this building in Lawrenceville, Georgia. We don't outsource any of our tech folks overseas. These guys are all extremely well-trained, and they are available and at your service from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. So you can call as much as you need during those hours of operation, and they will walk you through anything that you have questions about. And with your permission, they can even go in, log into your PC over the internet, and show you how to do things. So it's really a great service, and our support department has won multiple awards, and we're actually quite proud of the level of service we're able to provide in that vein. Looks like I am just about out of time here, so what I'm going to do is switch over and give you guys a number that you can call for more information. If you'd like to set up a personalized one-on-one demo with me, I welcome that, and I would encourage you to call this number, and you can talk to one of our account managers who would be happy to set that up. We can spend a full hour discussing your specific business situation, and you can ask me any questions that you have that I wasn't able to address today. So I'd like to thank everyone for attending, and hope that I've given you some food for thought as far as functionality of our Peachtree Quantum system versus ERP, and how you can save quite a bit of money in terms of total cost of ownership. So thank you, and have a great day.